All right, this is a test. This is my first ever live stream. I had to download Chrome to get it done on my laptop. So I'm watching the Yankees probably going to end their winning streak right now. Oh, sorry for the sound there. I'm getting a notification that I'm live. Giancarlo Stanton up. He hasn't done much today, 0 for 3. Still hitting over 300. Really good year for him, even though he hasn't played much. So Devi Garcia didn't do much today. And by the way, say hi when you join the stream. This is my first time ever live streaming. I'm testing it out so that I can do it in the postseason. Not going to do a recap today. I started working on it, and the Yankees were just getting their asses beat. And I was like, it's a really nice day outside. I'm going to go for a walk. So I plugged in my headphones, and I put on a book, and I took a nice long walk with my dog. So I missed most of this game. After it was 6-0, I couldn't stand watching it anymore today. So I figured, you know what? Today's a good day to test out the live stream. So go ahead and say something in the chat, in the chat box, and I'll do a little bit of a Q&A or whatnot. Tell me what you think about the team and all that good stuff. Right now, Gleyber Torres is up. I'll just kind of play-by-play the last inning here until we finish up. If you're watching the game. You may be a little bit ahead of me because I'm watching it on my phone today. So, all right. Well, during the nobody said anything, but during the postseason, I'm definitely going to switch to a post-game live format. Hopefully, I'll have some people on to talk. At least that's the plan right now. Let's see here. Gleyber Torres takes one outside. Luke Voit just hit his 21st home run of the year. Yeah, Boston's starting pitcher, Miggy, JR. So Boston's starting pitcher, Houck, I don't remember his first name. I was watching mostly on mute. So, yeah, he was filthy. And I'll tell you what, the Yankees had no shot. Hopped on this sitting in the park and left the game after Voit home run. What role will Holder have going forward? We're not going to have Canley again this year. He's out for the season. He's probably out for most of next year too. Generally, with Tommy John surgery, it used to be about a year. Now it's increasingly 18 months before you can return. So I wouldn't count on seeing Tommy Kahnle at all next year either. Jonathan Holder, I think he's going to be an average bullpen piece. I mean, he obviously doesn't have the stuff of a Chad Green or an Aroldis Chapman or even a Zach Britton, but he's a guy that can eat up some innings, occasionally be effective. There was somebody the Yankees called up from Double-A. I forget his name. It was like Mahure or something like that. I don't remember his name, but he pitched 3 scoreless innings in his debut. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, hey, THG Wicked 50. I wish I had you guys' names because it's so hard to read your titles. But yes, I am going to do more of these. I'm going to try and do more of these in the playoffs. After the playoffs, I'll probably have some friends over to watch the games with me, and so we'll turn this into like a live, multi-person discussion about the games. The Yankees were going to lose someday. It was bound to happen. All win streaks come to an end. Larkin, name of a great Red. I see Samuel Jacobowitz. We got him. He called Judge coming back early. We do need to win against the Marlins. I will second that. Look, the Yankees are going to be in the playoffs, but I don't want to be the road team. You want one of those top 4 spots because you want to have home field advantage. How often do we see walk-offs in the postseason? When you get to the playoffs, the teams are more evenly matched. And so it's way, way more important. I'm going to grab a water here. This is more cash than I usually do it. Keep them coming. Keep them going. Yankees got a little rally going here. Voit home run, and then got a guy on first and Gardner up. How's the sound coming through? There goes my cat. Word, yeah, definitely. We are not coming back from this. Coming back from what, Sam? I think every team is entitled to lose now and again. 10-game win streak. I mean, there's a reason that you don't see a lot of those. They're really hard to get. So, yeah, I would love to do more live chats. It saves me a ton of work. I like doing the videos because it's a creative process and there's a way for me to put my spin on things. And also by capturing the game, I'm able to create those highlight reels that build right into nice base hit from Gardner that build right into that post-game template that I use. I think next year I'm going to do pre-games every day. I'll do just like a pre-game show every game. And then afterwards, if the Yankees win or if they lose, whatever, I'll just hop on here and do a live chat after the game, unless it's like really, really late. Yeah, there's no coming back from this. The Yankees are going to lose this game for sure. It would be a miracle if they won, and if it does, it'll be a great live stream. But hey, how about Clint Frazier this year? 298, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, 992 OPS. You guys think he can be an all-star next year? I'm looking at Clint Frazier. I mean, if you think about it, this is kind of a breakout year for him. I think he's only going to get better. You know, he's only made these tweaks to his stance, like he's turning that front hip in, and that gets rotation. That builds rotation. And he's already got those really quick hands. He's just learning how to hit with this new style. And he's gotten much better on defense. He's been a positive defensive wins above replacement player this year. So I'm a big fan of Clint Frazier. Don't be embarrassed, Rick. That happens. Even little league teams can beat the Yankees once in a while. No, I mean, look, it sucks to get your ass beat, but I mean, it happens. It happens. It's baseball. They have a saying during the regular season when there's like a 162 game season. Every team's going to win 50 games. Every team's going to lose 50 games. It's what you do with the other 62 games that matter. 200,000. I haven't looked at it in a while. Sad part is I didn't monetize that video. So with that video, I didn't think it was going to do anything. Like I thought it was just like a for fun video. And so I didn't bother cutting it to where it would meet like the fair use laws. And so I didn't earn any revenue. Otherwise, it would have been worth like $500 to me. But it is what it is. I saw John Boy edited his, so he made money where I couldn't. So good for him. Frazier should be an all-star next year. If he keeps playing like that, that would be amazing. I agree. I want to create more swag, but I'm not like good at designs and stuff like that. So if anybody has like ideas for phrases or designs that they want, you can send them to me and I can put them on swag and then you can just buy it and I'll make a couple bucks off of it. But like, I want to like create more swag. Well, game over. Yankees lose. Unfortunately, this season has not been the same for me anyway, without John Sterling. I can't listen to John Sterling because the audio on MLB TV is screwed up this year. And so when you put it on the radio broadcast, it's like 15 seconds behind the picture. And so this year has not been great for that. So live coming up, I'm going to do like maybe 15 minutes. Keep those questions coming. Did you grow up in the greater New York area or do you always live in the NC? So I grew up just outside of Poughkeepsie, New York, a place called Beekman. It was in Dutchess County. Eddie Murphy lived behind me. Actually, he owned the property. I never saw him. I never met him. But it was a really nice area. Kevin Bacon lived in my neighborhood. My dad fixed his VCR. So it was like just within driving range of the city. Favorite Yankee of all time have to be Don Mattingly. I grew up, I became a Yankee fan right around 1987 when Mattingly was, hitting his peak. I was only 4 years old, but he was the talk of New York like Aaron Judge is today. And so as I became more of a fan, it was more during his decline. And then Jeter arrived when I was 13. But for some reason, I was never a humongous Jeter fan. I always liked Derek Jeter. I mean, we have the same name. My middle name is actually Peter, so I'm only one letter off. But I don't know. To me, when it came to the 96 to 2000 Yankees, I was always a Paul O'Neill guy. He was always my favorite player from that group. And Mariano Rivera, obviously, he was sick. So keep those questions coming. Where's everybody from? What's weird is that like it goes quiet and then I'm just like sitting here waiting for it. Connecticut, Long Island, Seattle. I just watched a Ted Bundy documentary. He was from Seattle. He was kind of a dick. Man, I'm from NC. Nice. I moved to North Carolina in 1997. My family moved down here after my dad retired from work. And it was the opportunity for me to play baseball year round in high school. Actually threw a no-hitter in my first start in high school. Was a pretty good high school player. Went to UNC Wilmington, played a little bit. Then I've been playing semi-pro since then. This is my first year not playing since, I guess, 1987. Coltrane merch. That is, I do need to get some Garrett Cole stuff in there. That's a good call. Yeah, I was gonna boot. So I started working on one. I was just gonna do like a 45, but then I realized that's something that the Trump people wear. I'm not a Trump guy, so I didn't want to like wear the 45 and be mistaken. I didn't want somebody to come on, oh, yeah, Trump MAGA, or somebody be like, oh, fuck you, So I was just, I stopped with that. But maybe I will do some with some Garrett Cole stuff. What is it today? You guys know the Emmys are on tonight. How are they going to do an award show with nobody in the seats? All right. So Deivi Garcia, not too good today. It looked to me like Deivi was struggling with his mechanics. Now I know that like his breaking ball wasn't breaking much, but to me, he was missing his spots from the get-go, and his velocity was 91, 92. That's down a bit. He's been 93 to 95 the last few weeks. So that tells me that there's something slightly off in his mechanics. It's probably the reason his curveball wasn't working. It's why he was missing on both sides of the plate with the fastball. He couldn't put guys away. He didn't quite have that extra hop on it. So in my opinion, Deivi probably just had a minor mechanical issue today. I'm not too worried about him. How much do you think Gardner will get paid next year? I don't know. How much do retired players get paid in pension? I know he doesn't want to retire, but the Yankees are not going to re-sign Gardner. I'm sorry. He's 37. I can tell you it feels different when you're 37. Even as a professional athlete, he's got to feel some of the stuff that I feel. You just can't. It's hard to get up in the morning. And it shows. I mean, he's hitting $1 something, or maybe 200 now. But he's just not the same player. I have no confidence that he can go through a 162-game season and be productive. Hey, ordered Thunder 77. All right, thanks, man. I actually just ordered a couple of the Martian for the samples to have this winter. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. So Garden, the last couple days he's been better, but I mean, we've played almost 60 games so far, and he's hitting under 200. He has a little bit more pop, but he doesn't have the kind of pop that justifies, $10 million or $8 million or whatnot. So I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening for Gardner. If Marcus Timms leaves next year, who should be the hitting coach? I really don't know, but I think they should bring back somebody who values hitting to all fields, hitting for average. I know average is not super respected these days as an important stat, but to me, look at what DJ LeMahieu does. There's no question that he's the most valuable Yankee on that team. Why is it? Is it because he hits 10 home runs like he's got, or because he plays good defense? No, it's because he hits for a high average, because when you hit for a high average, you get more hits with runners on base. The Yankees are going to have a lot of people on base because they're taught to draw walks. They're taught Moneyball to draw walks and hit homers. Well, if you just clog up the bases with walks and you don't have anybody hitting home runs that day, you're going to need somebody to get base hits. I'm a fan of getting some guys that, are switch hitters that, can use the whole field. And that's why Bernie Williams is one of my favorite hitters of all time, because he was a guy who had power. He could hurt you. He would hit the big home run. But, he would also take the ball the other way. He could, get jammed and still fight it off for a base hit. He ran hard out of the box. Hicks, he gets walks and he's got the occasional power. I'm not a big Hicks guy. I think the Yankees are going to keep Hicks because he's cheap. He signed for $10 million. The Yankees did something smart with Hicks. Right when he was about to have a kid, he was also entering his soon-to-be free agency year. So the Yankees locked him up. They said, get some security for your kid, for your family. They gave him a 7-year, $70 million contract. That basically undercut his market value. And now they can hang on to him for a while. And he also has some trade value because he is a good defender and he is a switch hitter. But I think he's just holding center field for the Martian. The one guy that I'm really surprised has been terrible this year is Mike Tauchman. Tauchman has just been terrible. No power whatsoever. His defense has regressed. he just seems very laid back. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have that fire this year that he had last year, where he was getting pumped up every single time. Maybe he kind of figured out that, he made it, and he cut back a little bit on his preparation. I don't know what it is, but it's hard not to say something stupid when you're live chatting like this. But I'm just not a huge Talkman guy anymore. All right, keep them coming. I'll do like 5 or 10 more minutes. So Gary started behind the plate, who was a catcher. Gary started behind the plate. Of course, he was miserable back there. Eric Kratz actually came in to pitch and had a pretty good knuckleball. I thought about doing a little video of that. One of them got hit over the monster, though. But yeah, Gary behind the plate. How do you guys feel about Higashioka? Because I feel like Higashioka is getting pigeonholed into that backup role that Austin Romine was in for so many years, because they feel like, he's a part-time player. But I see him, and I think this guy can play every day. He's a good catcher behind the plate. He's got power. He hits the ball to all fields. He doesn't look intimidated. He looks steady back there. He's a cerebral guy. He's the type of catcher that I like. He reminds me of Joe Girardi, but with more power. Do the Yankees carry 3 catchers in the postseason? I don't think so. I think in the postseason, valuable arms are going to be where it's at. It really depends on whether or not the roster can be structured in certain ways. With 28 guys, if you're allowed to have 14 and 14, they might carry a third catcher. I think Higgy's already competing for the starting job. I think honestly, Higgy could be the Game 1 starter in the postseason. If Garrett Cole is on the hill in Game 1, and there's no reason to believe he wouldn't be, they might go with him in Game 2, just a leverage situation. But if they start him in Game 1, I think Higgy's behind the plate. I do. Oh, okay. A lot of people are Zach Greinke's socially awkward too, and he won a couple of Cy Young awards. Nothing wrong with being socially awkward. I'm socially awkward. Aaron Hicks needs to be. I'm not going to disagree. Aaron Hicks does need to be better. To me, Aaron Hicks, he's gotten too much into the money ball philosophy. He tries to hit a home run every time, and he just doesn't have that kind of power. It looks like he swings a light bat too. Like his bat is smaller. Look at the bat he uses versus the bat that Glaber uses. Glaber's barrel is way bigger. Put Garrett Cole Game 2 for insurance. I kind of agree with you. In high school, we went to the championship, and the best pitcher started Game 2 of a 3-game set. You see that in college a lot when you have a 3-game set. It makes sense because anything can happen in any given game. Garrett Cole could pitch very well in Game 1, and the Yankees could lose. And then you're counting on not your best pitcher for Game 2, Tanaka or whatever. I'd rather have Tanaka, who's unflappable in Game 1, as Andrew Rodriguez just said. Same page, buddy. A-Rod. I'm going to call you A-Rod. So with Tanaka on the mound in Game 1, you're probably going to get a very good performance because Tanaka's unflappable in the postseason. I think he's got a 1.76 ERA. And then you got Garrett Cole. If you win Game 1, facing Garrett Cole in an elimination game, I wouldn't want to do it. That's a tough uphill climb. The Yankees had to face that climb last year. So, yeah, Michael Lacoste also in agreement. And I think that's something you'll see the Yankees discuss down the stretch. It would be different if you had a second ace. Like if you had somebody, if you had, a Justin Verlander like the Astros did last year, you could go with your number 1 guy. But, really there's a big gap between Garrett Cole and how intimidating he is and anybody on the staff. Even Masahiro Tanaka, he's a great pitcher, but he has his bad days. We did almost beat the Red Sox the entire season. 9-1, 12 straight wins before today's game. Hey, it is what it is. The Red Sox are not a great team this year. They traded Mookie Betts. The Dodgers are really, really tough now. Happ for Game 3. Yeah, I think you have to now, just the way that Garcia pitched today. They're both going to have one more start, Happ and Garcia. And, it's a possibility. There's a possibility they could get 2, but I don't think so. And I think that Garcia is going to have to work out his mechanics on the side, but for his next start. If he comes out and throws 7 shutout innings, maybe that changes the narrative a bit. And if Happ gets rocked his next time, who are the big free agent pitchers next year besides Bauer? I actually haven't looked at it. I think Bauer's pretty much the the big one. I'm going to do a postseason a show where I kind of research everything and recommend moves for the Yankees and put highlights up. Any role for Paxton in the postseason, or is he done? Well, they had to sideline him because his elbow was still hurting, so you have to assume he's done. Does Happ reach his vesting option this year? He needs to hit 59 innings. No, he basically needs 2 more starts, I think, to get there. They said 10 starts was his. He had to make 10 starts to vest the option, and he's only made 8. I think. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to look at it, but I think they said on the broadcast that he's probably not going to get there. I'm excited about Clark Schmidt next year being a part of that rotation. So Clark Schmidt, to me, and I could demo it a little bit. When you pitch, and I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can kind of see. When you pitch, it's all about getting over that front side. They teach you to tuck that front elbow, and that will pull your arm directly over. But what Clark Schmidt does that I don't like is that he opens up that front elbow. He opens up that front side, and that causes your front hip to open up. And that will take your arm slot from being here. Now watch what happens to my arm when I do this. My arm naturally follows through versus if I do this, my arm goes off to the side. And when that happens, the ball can just miss up into the arm side. And so, in my opinion, Clark Schmidt needs to work on that particular piece of his motion this offseason and come into camp throwing strikes. His problem has not been his stuff. He's got great stuff. He's got a great curveball. He's got a 95 mile an hour fastball with movement. But until he can consistently spot it, and I'm not talking about throwing strikes, I'm talking about throwing quality strikes that are commanded, then he'll really get going at the big league level. Right now he's had a taste of it, but we have not seen the real Clark Schmidt. I disagree, Zombie. I think he was a number 1 draft pick for a reason. He's got the stuff. He's got the arm. He's got the size. He's got the attitude. It's just a mechanical thing. And not everybody can fix their mechanics. I mean, you throw a certain way, but a lot of guys can. And I believe in Clark Schmidt. Keep in mind, he just had surgery on his elbow. He just had Tommy John surgery a couple years ago. That comes from a bad motion. When you put strain on your elbow like that, when your whole body is gone like that, you can feel it. You can feel it tighten up in that ulnar nerve area. Unless he has another elbow injury, I think he's going to be fine because I think they will adjust those mechanics. We saw it a bit better when they had those inter squad games during summer ball. He was just tremendous. But then when he went down and did some work on the side, I think his mechanics kind of fell apart a bit. And then you saw it when he came up. He's opening up way too much with that front side. But they can find ways to tweak that. Jason Dominguez seems like he will be better. Jason Dominguez is a center fielder. He's a big time prospect. He is probably the most exciting Yankees prospect of my lifetime from that I've seen. And I'm not just saying that because of the hype, because I've read the hype and I've seen all that. I've seen a guy take swings. The guy has an amazing swing. He's so developed. And if you listen to him talk about his at-bats, he talked about how he hit a home run in his first professional game, his first at-bat. It was like a fall game last year, right after they signed him. He was the youngest guy on the field. And he got ahead in count 3-1. He worked the count. He was thinking about what pitches the pitcher was going to throw. He knew this pitcher's arsenal, and he looked for a specific pitch, and he hit it out of the park, and he said he didn't get all of it. So I really, really feel that Jason Dominguez is going to be a big-time player. And, not to toot my own horn, but I took him to an MVP and a Rookie of the Year in MLB The Show. Austin Wells, Yankees first-round draft pick. Well, he's a catcher. Usually the wisdom is that it takes catchers a long time to get through the minor leagues. They also say it's the quickest path to the major leagues, but you can't just skip the minor leagues as a catcher. You might see outfielders occasionally like Bryce Harper, Juan Soto really blow through the minor leagues, but catchers need a certain amount of development time because there's nuances in catching. Especially catching at the big league level that those pitchers expect you to be good at by the time you get to the major leagues. When you rush a catcher defensively, you end up with Gary Sanchez. Great hitter when he was on, but then he has to shift his focus away from offense to defense. It hurts his offense. You end up fighting that whole battle forever. I I like Austin Wells as a draft pick. I like the idea of drafting catchers in general, but I still feel like Higashioka, I mean, he's 30 years old, but he hasn't played much in the major leagues. I feel like he could be a solid major league starter for a couple of years if the Yankees would give him a try. That is not a dumb question, F.U. Ty. Is it Fu-Tai or is it F.U. Ty? It's not a dumb question. They talked about Michael King. I think you've seen all you need to see from Michael King this year. I mean, he's a Luis Cessa type, but less developed. I mean, he doesn't throw as hard. He's got a sinker, but he could be okay. But he's not the same quality of prospect as somebody like a Clark Schmidt. I could see him being on the roster for a while. I think they might start Jonathan Loaizaga tomorrow. I think they'll probably go with a bullpen game. The bullpen is rested. The offense has been playing really, really well. I think they're going to start Lasagna tomorrow and go like 3 innings with him. That's what I would do. But I'm not the manager of the Yankees. So how you guys liking this live stream format? I'm thinking about doing this more often. Ugh. Anyway, so this is a tour of my media room here. As you guys can see, I'm a big physical media collector. I need to get rid of some of these though. I'm going to do some live chats after postseason games, and I'm going to give away merch. I'm designing some new exciting things, and after postseason games, I'm going to hop on here and I'll have friends, and we'll do some giveaways for some fun merch and things like that. Yankees defense next year needs to be Voit, LeMahieu, Urshela, Frazier, Dominguez. Not going to happen. Judge, backups, Hicks, Wade, Higgy, Stanton. So Dominguez is not going to be in the big leagues next year. He's only going to be 18 years old. He's yet to play a official MILB game. I just don't see it happening. I think he's going to need at least a year and a half of minor league at-bats. I think he's going to need 500 minor league at-bats to get used to seeing minor league pitching, to get used to reading the ball off of, professional players' bats, to get used to things like being in America. He's still in the Dominican. So I really feel like Dominguez is a few years away at least. Question: how is everything from Domingo Germán and Luis Severino? So Domingo Germán is on the suspended list throughout the season. He will get back, I think, 3 games into next season. He's suspended for 63 games, and the season was only 60 games long. It does not include the postseason. But because he hasn't pitched at all, he hasn't been with the team. So the Yankees basically told him, just take the year off. Esteban Florial did make his debut already. I'll get to that in a second. But they told Germán to take the year off. It was frustrating to him. He talked about retiring. But then a couple days ago, he came out in an article and said that he's not going to retire. He'll be back next year. So he has a shot at being in the rotation next year. But in my opinion, having missed a whole season, he probably starts in AAA, or he competes for the number 5 spot. I think that the rotation next year is up for grabs. I really think that despite the beef between Cole and Bauer, the Yankees might just spend big on Bauer if they don't do well this postseason, because that gives them a second ace. He wants to pitch every 4th day instead of every 5th. So that saves your bullpen a little bit. The Yankees seem to be into these analytical types. He's an analytical type. He'll do well with what's his name, Matt Blake. So hey, it should be interesting what happens. But I would sign him. I'd give him what he wants. Hey, Grayson, one of the few members of my my Discord group. I signed up for that. I started a Discord group because everyone said that I should, but I never log on to it. And Grayson's been telling me for a while that I need to announce it. So here it is. There's a link to a Discord group in some of my videos. I don't know if it's on it anymore, but I never use it. But there's a few people on there that chat. Yep, I'll post the link. If it's not, check in the description. If it's not in the description of this one, it's in the description of go back 3 videos, because I did rearrange some of my descriptions. I'll have Hicks at center field and Estrada as the backup. Estrada's not an outfielder. I mean, he can play the corner outfield a bit in a pinch, but he's really a middle infielder. I think Hicks is just going to be the center fielder and Tauchman's going to be the backup. And Frazier's going to be the left fielder. Judge is going to be the right fielder. And Florial will be kind of your guy that shuffles back and forth between Scranton and New York. Who is Oswald Peraza? I've heard that name before. I think he was with the Yankees in spring training, but I'm not really that familiar with him. Yeah, so FU Ty. So I guess it's so weird saying that. FU Ty. Yeah, so Bauer and Cole, they don't like each other, and it dates back to when they were both at UCLA. So the main story is that Garrett Cole was always a guy who put in a lot of work. He's a workhorse. And Trevor Bauer was a guy who had his own routines and his own analytics, and he was not big on the type of weightlifting and things like that Garrett Cole liked to do. And so Garrett Cole actually questioned his work ethic. But as far as I know, they don't hate each other anymore. And over time, people's like energy changes. You know, you have life experiences and you become a different person than you were 10 years ago. I saw somebody at my friend's wedding a few months. Well, it was probably almost a year ago now. That I knew from college that was a total douchebag in college. And he was just the nicest guy, at this wedding. So like people change over time. All right. Enjoy your Chipotle, Grayson. All right. I'm going to call it a day. Enjoyed doing a live stream format. Be sure to tune in after, next game or whatever. I'll probably do a pregame tomorrow. Depends on how busy I am at work. I'm doing the pregames less over these last couple weeks. And my fantasy food, I like shrimp Alfredo. Dominguez, not 2024, 25. You're wrong on that. I'm sorry. It's going to be probably 2022 is when you'll see Jason Dominguez when he's 19 years old. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first ever live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll see you then.